Nano Banana 2 is literally half the price of Nano Banana Pro per image, and it's faster too. At 1K resolution, you're paying 0.067 versus 0.134, and the 2 still spits out images in 4 to 6 seconds, while the Pro can take up to 20. So I dug through blogs, community reports, and an archive paper to compare these two models across 4 real tests. No vendor money, no cherry-picked numbers, and every claim I make here is backed by a source I could actually verify. And honestly, the part that surprised me most was the quality story, because the Pro's big claims about color accuracy and low light output turn out to be way messier than you'd expect. And that changes everything about whether the upgrade is worth it. Alright, so who is this actually for? If you're running an app, a pipeline, or any workflow where you're generating images at scale, the choice between these two models hits your monthly bill directly, and a wrong pick at 10,000 images a month could mean paying double for a quality advantage that nobody has actually proven exists yet. Test 1 is processing speed, and the concrete problem is this. You're generating a batch of images, your pipeline is waiting on each one, and the model is slow, which is a bottleneck that compounds fast, because at 20 seconds per image on the Pro versus 4 to 6 seconds on the 2, a batch of 100 images takes over 30 extra minutes. Okay, so I looked at default generation times side by side. Nano Banana 2 runs at 4 to 6 seconds consistently. The Pro runs 5 to 20 seconds on default settings, and you can optimize it down to under 8 seconds, but that takes extra work. And what surprised me is that even with the Pro fully optimized, you're still slower than the 2 running stock, which the scorecards on screen show pretty clearly. Nano Banana 2 takes this one, no contest. I was expecting the gap to close once you optimize the Pro, but 8 seconds optimized still doesn't beat 4 to 6 seconds stock. So the running tally is Pro at 0, the 2 at 1. Speed goes to the 2, and it wasn't even close. Test 2 is image quality and color accuracy, and the failure mode that actually costs you is this. You generate a batch of product images, colors come out muddy or the gradients fall apart, and now you're regenerating everything, which is wasted API spent on top of wasted time. So you really want to know which model holds color better before you commit to thousands of calls. So what I found here is kind of frustrating, honestly. Both models claim good color accuracy. The Pro's description is more specific around gradients and composition coherence, but that comes from a blog post, rather than a measured test. The 2 has community reports saying clean and detailed output, and no one has run a proper blind side-by-side yet, so the on-screen cards both say unverified, and that's the honest read. I want to be real with you guys about this one. The Pro sounds better on paper because the language is more specific. Gradients, composition coherence, all that, but specific marketing language from a blog is not the same as a measured result. And the 2's community reports are less detailed but just as unverified. So the gap here is smaller than it looks, and it really depends on whether you trust vendor-adjacent blog posts. This one's a tie, and I'll be honest, I was expecting the Pro to pull ahead given how much more it costs, but the data just isn't there for either side, so the scoreboard stays at Pro 0, the 2 at 1, with 1 tied. Color accuracy is a wash until someone runs a real test. Test 3 is low-light image enhancement, and the failure mode is pretty concrete. You're generating dark or moody scenes. The model handles them poorly, you get noisy, flat, unusable output, and you either pay to regenerate or ship something that looks bad. So if low-light quality matters to your use case, you need to know which model actually handles it before you find out the hard way. So I went looking for hard data here, and what I found was pretty thin. There's one archive paper on the Pro saying it showed superior subjective visual quality in low-light scenarios, but it actually lagged behind on traditional quantitative metrics, which is a mixed bag. And for Nano Banana 2, there's 0 published low-light data at all, so the on-screen card for the 2 literally says no data. And that's just the state of things right now. Another tie, and this one surprised me more than the color test did, because I was expecting that archive paper to hand the Pro a clean win, but the quantitative numbers don't back up the subjective quality claims, and there's nothing published for the 2 to compare against, so we just can't call it. And the tally sits at Pro 0, the 2 at 1, with 2 tests tied now. Test 4 is API pricing, and this is where it gets real. You pick the wrong model, you don't notice the per image cost difference, and 3 months later your API bill is double what it needed to be. So if you're generating thousands of images a month, the pricing spread between these 2 models is a real budget decision, not a footnote. Okay, so the numbers here are pretty clear. At 1K resolution, Pro costs 0.134 Rs per image, and Nano Banana 2 costs 0.067, which is exactly half. And at 4K, the Pro is 0.24, while the 2 is 0.151. So you're saving about 37% even at the high end. And I looked at every resolution tier, and the 2 is cheaper across the board. Nano Banana 2 wins pricing, and honestly, I went in expecting the Pro to at least justify the cost with some verified quality advantage, but it doesn't, so the final tally is Pro 0, the 2 at 2. With 2 ties, pricing goes to the 2, and it's not close. So where does Nano Banana Pro actually make sense? It has more specific quality claims around gradients and composition coherence. There's at least one ARDS of paper, hinting at better subjective low-light output, even if the quantitative numbers don't fully back it up. And it supports 4K at 0.24 per image if that resolution tier is something you genuinely need. Nano Banana 2 wins on the things that are actually verified. It generates images in 4 to 6 seconds, which is faster than the Pro even when the Pro is fully optimized. It costs 0.067 per 1K image, which is literally half the Pro's price. And community reports say the color accuracy is clean and detailed, so all 3 of those are real sourced advantages, not blog speculation. Honestly, I went into this expecting the Pro to earn its price tag on quality, and it didn't. So here's the decision rule. If you need 4K output and you're willing to bet on unverified, subjective quality claims, go Pro and test it yourself. But if you want verified speed and half the costs, Nano Banana 2 is the pick. Half the price. 4 to 6 seconds. No quality gap proven.